We mainly worked the Kimura today and how to pass from there. A small detail here is to not push the knee, but rather use your elbow on the inside. I had explained why, but I didn't show the move, so here it is.
You use the hand on the hip and the elbow, hand on the hip and the elbow to clear the knee off, or the hand on the knee like so to clear it off. If he uses the hand, he's a little naive perhaps. Because it's very easy for me to use my backhand to go through and capture it. Okay, now when he goes to work, difficult. It's very easy for me now to use my own legs. Look how I stand on his Achilles tendon. I'm up here above his knee, I stand on the Achilles tendon, and I put my foot in behind my training partner, and I start the action of lifting across his body. It's hard for him to counter because I'm controlling his arm on the other side. And as a result, it's an easy thing for us to come up and control our training partner's head. Now he finds himself in a truly wretched situation where his own arm is badly caught. It's important for us now that we get our head down to the mat. He can recover his arm position from here and come back in. So it's important that I get my head down to the floor. So when he goes to recover our position, it's all stuck. Now it's an easy thing for us to start running across our training partner's body into potentially winning positions. And once again, here in front of us, he likes to sit out. We start by keeping our knee up above his knee. If he's naive and uses his hand, then I go in behind and capture. He goes to yank it out. It's not so easy. Now, I stand on his Achilles tendon, feed the leg around, and lift it elevate. From here, I go across and get to that initial cross leg. From here, my head comes down towards the floor. He goes to pull his arm free. That's not so easy for me. And as a result,
This is one of my favorite passes using the Kimura from here because you get all the advantages of controlling one whole arm with just one of your arms. He's going to get this pass off to the knuckle line and then uses the scoop grip, which will show the clip on how to do it. One of the details that he forgets here is to use his other knee to shear his other leg out. So it's difficult to bring that leg up. As soon as you bring the knee to the pocket of the hip, it becomes much easier and it becomes a nice back step. Just how in the last video I showed the right rule from an armbar, whenever we do moves, we usually have to go over the finishing mechanics, and I'm showing what is called the power line. Now just bringing the elbow up to the shoulder, and it takes a lot less energy to finish Kimuras. Whenever I show this, I show it how it applies to bottom position and top position, and how you could use a lot less energy being a stronger guy too. It just makes your Kimuras way more higher percentage, and you don't have to go through roll throughs and try to push too much to get the finish. Here's now my dad, he's going to explain it.
Let's look again at the side Kimura position, and let's look at how we can incorporate my opponent's shoulder line into the equation. We see earlier, our opponent's shoulder line is a line that joins his two shoulders. We know now that the further my opponent's elbow from the shoulder line, the less pressure he feels. The more his elbow comes up to the shoulder line, the less work I have to do to get an effective break on my opponent's arm. Okay? So once we lock up on our training plan, I'm going to demonstrate this one on a relatively straight arm. Okay, this is for demonstration purposes. I generally prefer a sharply bent arm, but I want you to see that even a straight arm like this can be attacked very, very successfully if all the mechanics are correct. Okay? In a situation where I cannot physically bend the arm in, what I will focus on instead, once I get up to my opponent's head and shoulders, is I will physically take his elbow up to the shoulder line. I do this with a pull of my left elbow. I'm not pushing his head. You can't push an elbow to the shoulder line. You have to pull it. So I first bring my head over the elbow, the exact opposite of what we do to finish the Kimura. Okay? So my head goes forward, and I pull. Then I find his elbow to my elbow, and my head moves away. Okay? So the first pull is just to drag his elbow up to the shoulder line. If my opponent wants to keep his hand down by the hips, it's not easy just to pull it up in any haphazard fashion. So what I want to do, make a strong arm test, I want to first just lift and take my opponent's elbow up. Now it's on the shoulder line. When I bring my elbow to his, trap the head, and engage in that pulling action, now we're getting severe breaks. If the arm were down here, it's very, very hard for me to get a break. Okay? I have to do a lot of work to break it from here. So my first action is always to bring it up. My favorite is to bend the wrist in these positions. Okay? When I'm just demonstrating on straight arms, it's a little easier on my training partner and also shows that straight arm break is possible. Once the elbow goes up to the center line, sorry, to the shoulder line, then everything's about to pull backwards. Okay? So if we take the extra time to take our opponent's elbow up to the shoulder line and do our breaking from here rather than down here, we have to do substantially less mechanical work to enact the same or even more devastating breaks. The legs and I keep my head over my training partner's hips. So when he goes to hike with that underhook, it's a difficult thing. You'll notice that my support leg is well bent and I'm on my toe. If my leg is straight and relaxed and my opponent brings into me, I could have serious implications. So we always make sure we're in this good position with a cocked, strong leg behind us. As a result, it's not a difficult thing for us to access the wrist, and we come through and apply that initial Kimura lock. Just looking once again at the one-handed Kimura, we start off with a figure 4 grip. I just lift my wrist to expose his hand, and I hit a pass off where my hand goes from over my wrist to under my wrist. And as a result, we get that one-handed Kimura grip. You'll notice the one-handed Kimura, we grab the blade of the hand here. We don't hold the wrist, but he can easily straighten his arm and escape. Once we get the blade of the hand, we hike the hand up so the elbow comes to the shoulder line. Now from here, I look at his legs. If the knees are up high towards me, I will often scoop underneath the legs. If he's extended the legs away, then from here we put post on the bottom knee, and we bring our knee in just like so. And from here we post and slip out. From this position, my hand goes down to the hip or inside the leg. When my opponent goes to get up on top of me now, it's a very difficult thing. We can walk around the corner, we bring our elbow back, we perform that sit-through action, and we expose our training partner's wrist once again. There's the figure of 4, there's the step over our training partner's head, there's the movement towards the diagonal line of power, and there's the sweeping of my elbow to his elbow into a very strong.
The last move here, we look on how to clear a frame from top side control using the 10-finger method. Just as a concept to remember and think about, you always want to have the opponent carry weight, not on their frames, but on chest to chest. If you like this video, I plan on making it a series, taking it a little more serious than the last episode. I bought a mic so that my voice would actually sound better, adding some background music. Just trying to work on editing, doing the little things, so I enjoy this process. Hope you do too.
I'm across my training partner's side. He's in a defensively responsible position. From here, we've got a good cross face in place, and I want to get to an underhook. As long as his hand is here on my shoulder, I don't have anything to work with. So I'm going to take my hand, and I'm going to punch it through that small gap between his wrist and his shoulder. I'm going to take my second hand, and I'm going to lock a 10-finger grip so that I can lever his elbow down to the mat. I can use my elbow to sweep this out and get my head down to my own hands. If I keep my head up and I try to pommel in, he'll re-pommel and take his underhook. So it's important from in here. But once I come through and lock, I bring his hand out and I bring my head to my own hands. So when he tries to re-pommel through, there's no space. And as a result, I can go through and get to my underhook. From there, we're in the perfect position to start the action of creating that lever arm that we're always looking for. Okay? So once again, we've got a guy in a good tight defensive position. From here, I take my hand through that small gap. I lock up a 10-finger grip. Even as much as I strong and resistant from here, I just lever his arm out, get my chin down to my own hands. Now from here, I lock up. I find myself in good checking position with my wrist between his elbow and his ribs. We've got that lever arm in place.